Strike, strike, kick, strike, strike, lunge, stab. And it was all over. A thin sheen of sweat lingered on Robyn's brow, and all she could hear for the time being was her own breathing. In, out, in, out, in, out. She looked at the bodies piled at her feet. Their pallid faces, once decorated with malevolent expressions, were now daubed with single red strokes heralding their second deaths. The eyes of all but one of the demonic-looking creatures had fallen shut. This one, the one she had kicked, the one that she had sprung forward and stabbed through the forehead, seemed to continue to stare towards her. Its shattered black pupils were little more than pinpricks, but it managed to hold her gaze. A man in life, judging by the expensive-looking three-piece suit and shoes, a pretty successful man at that. But in this new world, success was judged by a different index. Armani suits and Christian Louboutin shoes costing thousands were worth nothing at the side of a sharp stick or heavy club found lying by the side of the road. Knowledge of the financial markets or the legal system was worthless next to knowing which wild mushrooms to pick and which to leave. Once, Robyn had been on the same path as this man. Well, not quite the same path. She was unlikely to have achieved the kind of financial success he obviously had, but nevertheless, she had worshipped the same God. She had aspired to a life set in the world of designer clothes, where what came out of someone's mouth paled into insignificance at the side of how they looked when they were saying it. It was a world where shallow people shared one common goal: the acquisition of more, no matter what the cost to everyone else, no matter what the cost to the planet. It was a world that had come crashing down on itself. It had left humankind completely unprepared, and even when this new order literally showed up at their front door to bite them on the arse, they'd been so married to their lives and possessions that they were doomed to fail from the very first case in this outbreak. She had been doomed to fail. She was one of those people, but she had been given a second chance. "Bobby? Bobby?" Wren's voice sounded distant as Robyn continued staring at the once successful businessman. She remembered back to the day this nightmare had begun. Her sister had told her to pack the essentials she would want to take out onto the road. Among those essentials was a Rebecca Minkoff designer shoulder bag. It made Robyn smile inside now to think of the person she once was and the person she had turned into. Without Wren, she would not have lasted 5 minutes on the streets, but now she'd become a survivor, a street warrior in this crazy race for survival. She pitied that girl sitting in her bedroom, wondering how she would survive without Spotify and her designer accessories. That girl was dead now. She died that day. "Bobby? Are you okay?" Robyn suddenly snapped out of her daydream and looked at her sister as she stood beside her with a concerned expression on her face. "I'm fine," Robyn said, smiling. "Just thinking." "God, now I'm really worried." "Funny cow."